Zoo Boys, Chapter 14, Part B. The boys heard the voice of a man.
Hello. What you lads doing here? Yeah, we're about to be food for the pups. What's wrong with you boys?
John looked and questioned, Huh? Their eyes, still burning, strained to see before them a 6'4" man questioning them. Their argument with each other was squashed. They were still huddled up together in the back of the cage, their heads tilted up, and their eyes gained focus. There were still some weird sounds, but pretty quiet now, and the smoke had cleared and the ringing in their ears finally dissipated. Ronnie thought to himself, I pictured Bigfoot as being more hairy. The man asked them again, What are you doing here? They sensed his sarcasm. Dave answered, I guess we're being busted? Ronnie asked his friends, Is he human? Dave teased, No, he's a shaved Sasquatch. The man shrugged his shoulders, then heard him clearly speak. What? The man shrugged his shoulders, then they heard him clearly speak clearly. You can call me Rob. It's short for Robinson. I changed my name because I love the novel Robinson Crusoe. You know the story of a young, impulsive Englishman that defies his parents, wishes and takes to the sea, seeking adventure. The boys just stared back at him in confusion. Dave was especially frustrated because anything that could be used as a self-defense weapon was thrown at the fang-bearing beasts far out of his reach. Because the kids said nothing, the stranger filled the dead air on the topic of his choice. Young Robinson Crusoe, in the book, is shipwrecked and cast away on a remote tropical island for 28 years. Ronnie echoed the statement with the question, 28 years? The man nodded and continued, Yes, 28 years. Of course, I haven't been here that long. I've only been here a relatively short period of time, really. John thought, how vague. John's interpretation was right. Even the other three boys picked up on it. It was obvious the stranger was hiding something. John's thoughts were right in line with his peers. Each of them assumed, if this man ain't here to bust us, maybe he's here to save us. The man quickly changed the subject back to the book. So, no, but yeah, Dave Defoe published that story, Robinson Crusoe, way back in 1719. Dave mumbled, Who cares? Jeremy wondered why the year of publishing was important enough to mention. Ronnie said, I thought that was Jacques Cousteau. Robinson didn't want to dignify Ron's ignorance with an answer, so he simply said, no. No. John was really the only one following what this new guy was saying about literature. After saying all that, Robinson still continued his monologue as if he had been practicing it for years and now was delivering it on a stage in front of a large crowd of people. The boys couldn't help but notice that the next part was spoken with what sounded like a British accent. They had not noticed it earlier, most likely because sometimes the man spoke with no specific accent at all. The accent was all of a sudden very strong as Rob continued to speak. Furthermore, I've been living on this island whilst reporting buck to Sir Jonathan Hansen. I follow a strict, structured schedule, or schedule as you may pronounce it. He continued on as he proudly paced back and forth in front of the boys who were still in the open cage. Am I not to inhibit this habitat? No, I am not to interfere or molest the creatures in any way, form, nor fashion. Henceforth, I do not stop or halt them from being anything they would henceforth do or a normal basis. In other words, per se words, I do not get involved. I simply live among them. Amongst them I must live. I therefore also live like one of them. His accent was forced and over the top. The kids were not impressed no matter how much this guy tried. They sat still, staring up at him as he droned on. However, I saw you four young juvenile lads in trouble and despair. I simply had to intervene. Nasty creatures, those hellhounds. And you had a pack of 3 on your tails. Ya didn't nip it, did ya? He gave no time for them to reply. I'm going to reread that because it sucks so bad. Nasty creatures, those hellhounds. And you had a pack of 3 on your tails. You didn't get nipped, did ya? He gave no time for them to reply. They just tried to keep listening, still not completely sure what was going on. They were relieved a little by the thought of this man being an official, legal resident put here by the owner of Zoo Island. But why he had to lecture them about himself was unclear. Robinson rambled on as he loved the sound of his own voice. I am not surprised, lads, at your lack of detection of me observation. I have uncanny ability to present a highly superior ability to rather stealthy, if I do say so myself. Sneaky, isn't it? Then he raised his voice and went into a full performance, spouting out complete nonsense. Darwin first did the eminent service of arousing attention to the probability of all change in organic as well as in the inorganic world. Thus the resulting law of miraculous interposition. No, therefore, of evolution. All change in plants and animals is a result of evolution, the term we give to that process, synthesis, and comprehensiveness. He took a deep breath just to recite more. So, hence then I's obligated me service toward ye tree. No, ye four wee lads. And I don't fancy a thank you or nothin', mates. I's only in all in it. I mean to say, though, I saw as me pre-observed how ye partook, gobbled up a lot of me food rations, though. That's another topic. An issue altogether different, now isn't it? And not a one of ye foresaw me flying me drones now, did ye now, no? Ye didn't know I had a drone now, did ye now? He sounded more Jamaican now. Indeed, I did though. I do. But ye saw the helicopter flying overhead, didn't ye now? The boys realized he wasn't even asking rhetorical questions. He was just adding "isn't it?" or precisely "isn't it?" to the end of every paragraph he was making up as he went along. Once again, Rob carried on. Well, of course not. You won't have noticed it. Like I said, stealthy and all like that, isn't it?
In any event, I do hope that yez remembered to close me walk-in icebox, stroll-in refrigerator, and freezer door to keep fresh that which partain and that which ye had partaken of. While alarms and flags went up in the minds of John, Jeremy, and Dave, wondering if any part of this guy's accent or story was real, Ronnie asked, You actually really live on this island? Like, all the time? Every day? And every nighttime, too? Yes, and I see you have met Doko. The boys all asked at the same time, Doko? The man replied, Yes, the half-dog, half-Komodo dragon. His name is Doko, isn't it then, boy? Quasi cowered in the corner, showing her dislike and fear of this man. He was no stranger to her. She knew him well and tried to avoid him as much as possible. Her reaction was another red flag warning for the boys. Dave declared and corrected the man. Oh, you mean Quasi. He is a she, and that boy is a girl. As John began to explain, yeah, we named him, her, 'cause like Quasimodo, the man interrupted. I see. Quasi, I knew a lad named Oscar, but we all called him Ozzy. And what you chaps came up with as a name reminds me of an old British fellow, Ozzy Osbourne. Well, this specimen's surname is actually Doko, the man insisted. He extended his hand to the youngsters and asked another rhetorical question. You want to see where I live? The boys agreed, got to their feet, and tried to gather their things that were torn up and strung all over the place in an attempt to shoo away those wild canine-like freak attackers. They were still so tired. The sudden high adrenaline boost from 0 to 100 was gone now, and their energy was completely spent. As the boys' bodies dropped back down, their minds weren't able to find all the objects they threw. John's backpack was fully depleted, and so were the kids' bodies and minds. Robinson told them, Sure, gaffer what ye... Okay, here we go, sorry. Sure, gaffer what ye... Oh, I can't do it. I suck. If I wasn't being recorded, I'd be fine. It's nerves. Okay. Robinson told them, Sure, gaffer what ye like, but don't fretteth over supplies. I got enough to share at me flat. The young men looked at each other. They responded by shrugging their shoulders. Dave spoke up. Let's just go. Let's just leave this stuff and leave this cage and leave this island altogether. On to part C.